Hello there. I'm back and here to give you a completely full tour of what everything is looking like outside in our yard. And so today is Saturday, June 28th, and I'm going to try and be as thorough as I possibly can, giving varieties. If I can't remember, I have a plan of how I'm going to insert what the plant label looks like, or the seed packet that I got, so you can see exactly the variety and the color and the seed company that I ordered the seed from as well. So I'm going to start you off here in the garage in my workspace. I recently cleaned everything up like I planned to, so here is what that area looks like. And if I zoom you out, this is where everything is. So I have a sprayer that I've started using, calling it my oil sprayer, but what I use is a neem oil. And here are just all my different pots. And the ones that I use this year are all cleaned. All the reusable ones, all my saved fruit containers, peat pots, things like that. These are the gallon jugs that I use when I fertilize. I fill it up, since I know exactly how much is in here. I fill it up and put my fertilizer, my synthetic. This is one I use for my flowers, these guys. Kneeling pad, one of my containers that has just miscellaneous labels. I save all my labels so that, I don't have to make them every year, and every year I get more seeds, so I need more. All my extra packets for saving seeds I put in here. Fish line for various things, usually not even garden related. And then up here, my trays, drip trays. This is my staging station of things that need to be washed. This is my container that had all my radishes in them, and I have a plan for that. So I have to amend the soil before I do anything there. All my trays and domes are there. I need more trays for next year. I have a plethora of domes, definitely not enough trays. And then just some extra containers. I have this, which I think is aluminum. I have this large container, and I'm wondering if it would be good as a planter. Put some drill holes. I've never used it. It was my mom's, passed on to me, and she used it as a cooler for things, for putting ice and drinks in at parties and such. But I have not used it for anything, so I'm wondering if that's a good idea. This is my shelf that has all of my products that I'll share with you on another day. Cleaning, always good to clean your shears, which we have mountain full. And then here's all of my tying things, clothesline, just random netting for trellising, my tomato clips that I'll show you how I've been using those, and all my garden baskets. So then I'll take you outside. We're gonna start heading back here. All right, it's that time of day where you're gonna see my shadow in a lot of these shots, but if you remember my last video, I showed you what I planted in this area, and you can see I've got sprouts coming. All the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sunflowers have come up, and I have to thin out a few that are back there and over there. I just want to make sure they get established. And then cosmos here, back behind the butterfly there, and up here have sprouted. The straw flower and aster, as far as I can tell, have not come up at all. I did see, now I do not remember what the sprouts look like for those two particular flowers, but no, I don't even think, there's nothing here. But you know what, if nothing comes up, then nothing comes up, and I just have sunflowers and some cosmos, and I'm happy with that, so no problems there. Okay, so I will tell you that I changed my mind a lot, but I am as happy as I can be with the final result of where I put everything. And this being the end of June, I can't wait to share how things progress for the rest of the season and get, for the most part, full. And things will change and things will die and not succeed. And right now I have a lot more successes than I do failures, so I'm so thrilled to share today. So we've got now marigolds. I'm not going to know all of the varieties as I show you, but I made sure I put marigolds around all of my tomatoes. That was not part of my original plan. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Well, initially I didn't even think I was going to put tomatoes out here in the ground. But this is the Sunray, and this is my trellising. I just get these tall stakes. This one is probably only 5 feet. I don't have any 8 feet tall ones, which might not be a bad idea. I have some that look more like 6 feet, like that one over there. Looks like it could be taller. But I just take these clips. Ooh, this one's getting too big for that clip. I'm gonna have to move it. But I take the clips and wrap them around. And so far they've been big enough, but this, I don't know, stump of the tomato is huge. So I've got some tomato buds on there. No fruit coming yet, and you're gonna see that. Oh, nope, I think that one's starting to show. So that's exciting. On here I have the nasturtium, our Sparky mix. These are petunias. They're budding, so that's exciting. The yarrow is budding. And the snapdragons that I moved up here. Some are still working on it, but they're the perfect little size for in here. I thought they would get bigger, and they didn't, and I'm glad for it. And then the alyssum is just trailing beautifully. I have plenty. These are the, if I remember correctly, the alpine strawberries, just so you get from Buzzy Seeds, the cheap packets that you get at the dollar store. And they are budding like crazy. Now, yesterday, I had a few that were pinking up. They were a substantial size, and I thought, you know what, I'll wait until after work to pick for my husband and I to try it together. And I got home, I went and checked, and the two that had pinked up were gone. So whatever critter, now I thought these tall stacks would, I don't know, deter things from climbing up them and eating strawberries. Maybe the lower tray would maybe get some munchers on it, but it was the top one in the front, and I couldn't believe that they were gone. But I have plenty of strawberry flowers on all of the plants at this point that, fine, they can eat them. I'll just wait a little bit longer. So that's my sad story there from yesterday. And look at how many buds are on these. These filled up just the way I imagined them to. This is the Orange Hat tomato, and oh, there is one back there. If I hold still, you can see one's a little bit darker. It's starting to turn. So I will pick my first tomato pretty soon. And then same thing on this side. There are buds everywhere, little tiny tomatoes everywhere. Here I finally potted up my jalapeno, and looking fine as ever. Come down here. I will have to look up. These are either Strawflower or Aster, and I can't remember which. Again, I'm unfamiliar with that variety of those two varieties of flowers, so I'm not certain what their leaves look like. So I'll have to share that. I have this sad looking zinnia right here. He's tall and lanky and getting covered by the tomato and this immaculate nasturtium. It is huge. It's bushing up just the way I wanted it to. It's hiding the crates that I've used to elevate these pots, because I don't like pots to sit on the ground. It's not my favorite. I like to either have a stone under it, or these crates work really well, and that's exactly what I wanted that nasturtium to do, is cover the crates so you can't even, you come back here, hardly even tell they're there. So I think I am just thrilled with how this corner looks. It's just filling out so nicely. So there are some things. This is a candy tuft, I believe. I think it actually is supposed to spread low to the ground, from what I understand. Again, that's another variety I've never grown before. So I'm just waiting patiently to see what it does. Here, alyssum here, kind of scattered about. Marigold, of course. Gomphrena just kind of mirrored each other on either side of the solar light. There is another yarrow right there. Looks like it's coming up really nice, and that's a perennial, so that should come back every year. So I'm really happy. That's a great spot for it for now. Here is a cosmos. Zinnia, so just things starting to bud. I know this is the key lime marigold, and it's got a nice little limey color to it, almost lemony more so. And then this, I believe, is the Goliath of the marigolds, and it has actually two, it's a mix, and this is one plant right here. So I staked this one got floppy, so I staked this one. I might stake it one more time, but it is getting tall. This is my red cherry tomato, and it's a sucker on there that I did not catch, but it's, again, it's got flowers. It's doing really well in this spot. It's hot, so there's going to be some curling of the leaves that you see on some of these plants. I do not remember if I shared the stories when I first put hollyhock into the ground. This was before I mulched and before I got really anything else in the ground. Hollyhocks were probably the first perennial I put in the ground back here. And I think I did. I just haven't edited that video yet. It's the one before this. And I show the rabbit, because he's actually in my yard when I was working that day. And he ate all the leaves of all of the, I don't know, we'll count them as I'm out here today, of all of the hollyhocks. Just ate all the leaves off, and they're all coming back. And that's since I put down the cedar mulch. So that was kind of my hope, that if I put down the mulch finally, everything was planted, I put down the mulch everywhere, and I was thinking, that's a pungent smell. Cedar mulch has a pretty strong smell when you first lay it out. And it did exactly what I wanted it to. That's my guess is why it stopped eating the hollyhocks. And now I am getting them back. So here, take a look. So hollyhock there, that's the smallest of the bunch. This was the highest traffic area, because actually it's back in that corner. If you can barely see, there is a hole under the fence there. So that was a high traffic area right here. Every time I would put a new plant out in that spot, which is bare, and back behind this key lime, which is now bare, it would get trampled. The stem would be snapped in half. So those are now vacant spots. I will maybe choose to do perennial or something next year in the fall. We'll see. but I want that filled in at some point. So hollyhock here, high traffic area. It's coming back though. Zinnia hollyhock is coming in just fine back there. Zinnia, again, aster or straw flower, I'll let you know. And then I think, let's see, what is this one? I'm not certain. That I don't think is my other Gomphrena. I think it's down a little bit further. So this is the ladder of either the straw flower or aster. Aster is a fall blooming, so maybe this one. Aster, yep, aster's the fall blooming. I'll clarify that if I'm wrong. And the straw flower. So that might be a straw flower. More zinnia, nasturtium, hollyhock coming back. Zinnia, they're a little worse for wear. Once they start budding up and I'll start pinching flowers back more often, they'll bush out a little bit more. But for now, I let the first flower show, and then I'll pinch it, and then it'll start to get nice and big. Okay, so I purchased these. Oh, I'm trying to think when that was. 2 weeks ago? It was 2 weeks ago. But Munstead lavender, and it smells so good. I just love brushing my fingers on it. I walk over here all the time, almost every time. I brush my fingers on it and take a nice big whiff of my hands. It smells so good. But these are perennial, so they might be a little close, but they were the available spots I had at the time. So I may eventually have to dig up and move it, but for now they're fine. So this one, full sun, which it gets 38 to 47 centimeters apart and grows just 12 to 18 inches. So it's not huge, it might be fine. And then another hollyhock here. Now, in a few spots, I have perennials that I have to try and remember. We had a few real hot days, four days of heat warning index of just over 100 for 4 days, and some of the things I put in the ground I think got scorched from that. And because, you know, my perennials are still pretty small since I started them, you know, this year. So I don't know what all completely died back and what is gonna come back, but I've got some good looking things still. So down here, this I believe is a Shasta daisy. Because I remember how I placed things. I put a Shasta daisy, and then in the middle, this would have been a coneflower. And even that looks like there's bug damage, but there's still green there. I'm gonna let it try to thrive some more. And then over here is another daisy, and that one's the best one so far. And then when I put the baby's breath in the ground, those all got chewed up and struggled from the heat. But then, so I pulled some that was a baby's breath that I replaced with the lavender, and then I'll show you that's the other lavender I bought. But this baby's breath is coming back, which I'm kind of happy. It'll grow the way it's supposed to, straight up. So I'm excited about that. This hollyhock is looking fantastic. So 2 hollyhocks here that are coming. This is a combine, and it's doing great. I'm so excited. It is just taking off. Marigold, I think something jumped on it because that whole middle just was broken off one day. And then there's a marigold just opposite it. This might have been a candy tuft, and looks like it's not going to survive. But it's, you know, it's still hanging on. There's still a chance. A little grouping of zinnias here around that one, and then I'm gonna guess that one's the aster. And then this is the other variety of lavender that I bought. And this one already has the pretty plumes starting to show. And this one is called Lavance lavender, or lavandula. Can't even pronounce that. But this one gets 12 to 24. Again, not super huge, 46 centimeters apart. So that will be a nice another perennial addition. This is my beautiful display. Look how tall those got. I didn't know calendula got that big, and you'll see in some of my other pots that I put them in, I think their home should be in the ground. So that's something that I've learned about calendula. They are more bushy than anything. I did not expect that or anticipate it. So isn't that just pretty? I have two varieties, Pacific Beauty and I can't remember the other one, Pink Surprise, I think. And they just, I've gotten so many different beautiful varieties opening up. So I'll kind of show you which ones are opened up the nicest. They don't, I think they're a cooler weather crop. You can even feel these are crispy on the end. I don't think they like the sun so much. This is the chrysanthemum, which looks like it's coming back a little bit after I cut it back. Alyssum here. Zinnia nasturtium. Another aster. Hollyhock. Nasturtium, more zinnia. Here's a yarrow, which is, you know, not as nice as the other two, the ones in the pot and the other one in the ground, but that's okay. It's a marigold, candy tuft. It's still hanging in there. Marigold, Gomphrena, bachelor buttons, which are all starting to open up. All my volunteers. There are some that I planted, you'll see. Here is my Brandywine. Now, I'm a little concerned. They started flowering, and these are what the flowers, sorry, get you a little bit closer in there. This is what the flowers have started to look like. They're getting brown, and I'm not seeing any fruit produce. So, I'm a little concerned, because behind this fence that I will show you is a gigantic black walnut tree, and that is acidic, or can't think of the word for it, but there are certain plants that are definitely prone to disease due to whatever toxic properties that the black walnut tree has. So I've found that a few things are looking a little rough down in this corner. I'm about to show you some things are looking just lovely, but there are some things that are not. And the Brandywine tomato is one, and I don't know what I was thinking. I should have planted a different tomato there, or just not have planted a tomato there. It was a great spot for it at the time. And then I remembered the tree. And this is the tree. It is gigantic. It is huge. I didn't have issues the first couple years I grew tomatoes, but this tree is just massive. And I'm not happy about it. It really disappoints me that it ruins tomatoes in my yard. But down here, I believe I have another straw flower here. There is a marigold back there, again surrounding my tomato plants with marigolds for pests. But look, I've got all this wilting. It's the only tomato plant that is starting to look rough, and I'm not gonna I need to prune some of these off, and I'm going to do that, but I wasn't gonna do it in the heat of the day. I'll probably do that tomorrow morning before I go to work. But you know, I'm concerned about the flowers that don't have tomatoes. Now, it could be because there's no lack of pollination. It's always a possibility, but my guess is that tree. And I'm not gonna get any Brandywine tomatoes because this is what happens every year. They grow up beautifully, and then when it starts producing fruit, I'll get maybe one picking, maybe, and then from the ground up the stem just becomes hollow. And I think that's just because the toxin is just going up the stalk and going out to the branches, so it starts from the base. I don't know if there's anything I can do. If anybody knows if there's anything I can do to save tomatoes from this happening, please share. That was one of the reasons why I was going to do gallon pails or 5-gallon pails for my tomatoes, and I just had so much ground space. I didn't. So it's not a lost cause yet, and it may turn out fine, but that's what I'm anticipating. It usually gets to this stage in July is when they start to die back. They just start great. So it just always boggles my mind. Oh, they start so nice and pretty, and then they get fruit on them, and then they just die. So I have some hope for the ones that are further down the way that I've already showed you, the cherry tomato and the sunray. I have hopes for those because they're further away. They say it's like a 50 feet radius around the base of the tree that it can affect up to. So those could be far enough away, but time will tell. We shall see. On to the next. So down here, continuing, this is a cone flower, Echinacea, and it's doing okay. It's small, it's not getting huge. That's a candy tuft, I believe, nasturtium. Now this is where you start to see some damage on plants for no apparent reason. So I've been getting these brown spots. This is a sunflower. I lost one of the sunflower. Even look right here, this candy tuft. I should just, yep, that's not gonna survive. Right here, it was awful. Anything that I tried to plant besides this, I've been overlooking these. These are chamomile. I have a few back that I didn't show you, but there's a few others. But some of this looks like pest issues, like here and here, definitely pest. That looks like earwig damage to me, so I should just spray some 7 or spread some. But other than that, yeah, look at that. The browning like killed off the other sunflower I had here and whatever else was growing. I don't remember what. But then the marigolds seem to be resilient so far. And then these begonias are from that one pot that I had next to the garage, and I couldn't tell if they were gonna die or not, so I got them out of there, bought new begonias to go in the pots, and I just put these in the ground with fertilizer and just hoping for the best. Now, I did these 3 here, but there's 4 or 5 in the front yard that you'll see look way better. So I don't know if that has to do with the soil back here or the tree being toxic or not enough sunlight, but they're not doing as well back here as they are in the front. But again, marigolds look great, get nice and tall. Hollyhock, another columbine, which is doing just great. Get some of this overgrown grass out of here. We have, now that we have, see there, those remnants of walnuts. Now that we have the mulch laid out in the plan that we want, now we have to get something to outline this. So that may not happen this year, but is planned for the future. We have more of that spotting down here, but other than that, the marigold looks fine. I transplanted those bugs. Maybe I need to spray some neem back here. I'll try 7 first. But in my raised beds, you'll see where I did chaos spreading, and I thinned them out a little bit more, so I put a couple zinnias back here, a bachelor button back here. So that is my fence line. If you look back in the last couple of videos, you'll see how far this has come, and I'm just beyond excited. Okay, before I go into the raised beds, the lily of the valley has died back and is just beautiful greenery. And then columbine, I've got 6 cells here that I know I will put some back here, maybe 2 or at least 3, maybe 4, and then I'll find a home for the other 2. I have a couple other spots over here, you'll see. The lilies have opened. Oh, so pretty. So excited about those. They look great. Those were here when we moved in. The lily of the valley was here when we moved in. And they're just thrive in the space they've always been. This is another open area. I could put some columbine as well. So that's an idea. Here's my chamomile. Looking just lush as ever. Hopefully it's getting enough sun back here. This gets nice, really bright morning sun for a good few hours through maybe noon, and then it's in the shade the rest of the day. So I'm not certain it's in the best spot, but that's where it is right now. Over here I have the pansies are still living it up. The greenery still looks great on these. And then, oh, look at the snapdragons. These are the bizarre mix that I got. Baker Creek or M.I. Gardner. But those are so pretty. I love the little flecks. These are volunteers that are starting to open up, and I wish I knew the variety, but I'm so happy they came up, and they are the color that was my favorite last year. Just gorgeous. Love that sunset look to them. This has come a long way. Remember those impatiens that I got that looked really sad from Meyer? There they are. So pretty. Geraniums. I have to do some cutting back of some deadheads and things. Alright, now we're gonna walk over. Don't mind my hose from that heat wave and the amount of heat we've had. That hose pretty much lives out here. It's so heavy, I don't like rolling it back up. Okay, maybe I should give you a quick. Alright, here we go. This is the whole look. So we walk in here. Now this is chicken wire. I have to remember to walk over it. I've tripped over it either by not raising my foot high enough, but it seems to do a good job at keeping things out. Squirrels are about the only thing to get in here, and they dig, and that's about it. You've seen videos where I've complained about that. Okay, we start over here, and we've got some sunflower. Don't know what varieties I have in any spot, but they're getting tall. Bachelor button, these were the volunteers that came up. Those are just 3 plants there. So I'm glad they're not all the same color. I think this is the only one that is a different color. And I have all the other blue. But that one's a nice light lavender. Very pretty. I would cut those and put them in arrangements, but I'm waiting for more flowers to open up. This is the 42. The last time I showed you a video, it was looking a little pale. And it seems to have come back, and look how much fruit is on there. But it's a 42 day. I knew that fruit would come early. So this is moment of truth. We're gonna see how it survives. But it is just jam-packed with buds. This is the moment where once the first set start turning, if it's going to die or not. Marigolds all over. Zinnia rose back here is what I decided to fill those in with. Snapdragon volunteers, that's all volunteers. Oh, cannot wait for that to open up. Those are getting nice and tall. And then sweet peas are kind of hidden. And I think my problem with sweet peas this year is I put too much in where they are planted. So here in that corner with the sweet pea, it's a white one on this side, it flowered and they're dying back. But I have that sunflower. Has a little bud on top. I have that sunflower. I think it's stealing its nutrients. Here, this one I've cut back a couple times. It's still surviving. I'll show you a better picture from the outside. But this bachelor button might be stealing its nutrients. In this corner is not quite as bad. This corner seems to be doing fine because there's nothing down at the soil level that's stealing its nutrients. That's my guess. I have all of these cosmos. I believe that is a marigold, and I don't remember the variety, so I will share that. But to me, it looks like, and actually, it could be the cosmos. Yeah, it is. It has the same flower as that guy right there, or the same center. It is a cosmos. I thought it was a marigold because the leaves are different. I wonder if it could cross-pollinate. Interesting. Morning glories are starting to climb. There. This one's getting nice and tall. That's what I've been waiting for. This whole thing is going to be all morning glories, and I'm just so excited. I'll keep them there, but another plan I had for next year was to put sugar snap peas on this side, because you'll see how out of control the ones I have this year are. I would like to have them on something more solid like this. So this year though, morning glories. And then I bought just this dark, let's see, dark opal basil, you know, companion plant for my tomatoes, and it was just so pretty I couldn't resist. So there's some basil. This nasturtium is starting to be out of control, and I had to just, I stuck a stake in there to kind of keep it growing and pushing out this way. Because look at the cucumber. I'm gonna have to tell my neighbor this is the one she gave me, and remember it had just that one last little leaf, and I fertilized and did all the things, and here we are. It's going. It keeps producing little buds, and I have to keep pinching them off because I just want to keep grow before that happens. Here is a sunflower that I was also concerned about way back when, and it has like shoots. Every shoot has a bud. I'm very excited about this guy. He is going to be fantastic. I've fertilized everything in here. I did have a sweet pea in this center right here, and I think the sunflower took its nutrients, so it's not, it died. I pulled it, but that's okay because this corner or side is looking great. This is my KS section. I've got the cosmos in here, a forget-me-not in here. I have bachelor buttons all over. Another cosmos on this side. Another forget-me-not. They're not my favorite, I will tell you, because they turn into little prickers, but that's okay because look how pretty that blue is. So that can stay. These are the marigolds. They are just getting big in here, and that's what they did last year. They were in this spot, and they'll get as tall as the chicken wire. You can see the line right there. They got as tall, if not taller than that chicken wire, and that chicken wire is about up to my chest, almost 4 feet. So those get huge. I'm very excited. Peppers. These are my sweet peppers, and they just start producing flowers. I think they're at a good size. I don't know if I want to pinch them off or not. People I read both sides of the story, and I don't know, maybe I'll pinch flowers off of the first one and compare it with the other two. I don't know. See which one does better. You tell me, what should I do? I've got another sunflower in this corner, sunflower in that corner. Sweet pea seems to be doing so far so good on that side. It's getting nice and tall. definitely some more bug damage. Guessing earwigs. So there's a trap that I can do for earwigs, and I really hold off on doing it. I talked about it last year. If you watch any of my videos from last year, I talked about earwigs and slugs. Slugs have been okay so far, but the earwigs are always a problem, and I see them scurrying about all the time. And you take a dish with oil and soy sauce, and they swarm into it and drown. And I despise that method because it's just disgusting to deal with when they're in there. What do you do with it? I guess I could put that in a plastic bag and just throw it away like that. But I think it's getting to be that time where I need to make that trap because I've been seeing a lot more damage lately. Over here, this is the ground cherry. And there it is, folks. It is huge. It is overgrown the pot. It dries out constantly. Probably could have done a bigger pot, but it is just massive. So big and so pretty. But I just keep watering it. It's fine. But there are buds and buds and buds and buds and little tomatoes. If you don't know, ground cherries drop when they're ready. I don't have to guess when they're ready. They drop, and that's how I know. So I knew I had to put it in here so that if they drop in an enclosure, and I don't have to really hunt too badly for them. I should be able to see when they drop on the mulch or down in the bed or somewhere down here, unless they fall in there. But it's okay. I'll figure it out. This side, look at my onions. They are a little out of control. We've had some major wind, and I think that's just kind of caused them to bend. But look at that. That is to my hip bone. Those are gonna be great. On this side I have 3 rows of lighter, skinnier ones. Those are the green onions. And then these are my torpedo, the more huntry, darker green, not as bright. So they haven't started to bulb up yet. I've been keeping my eye on this one especially because this is the one that has the biggest onion. Well, you know what? I shouldn't say that. This one is quite massive as well. It's hard to tell because they've all flopped from the wind. But I've been told if it doesn't break down by the bulb down here, you'll be fine. They'll keep growing. It's if they snap down here, then that's it. That's it for them. Morning Glory. I've got a couple of those here. That one's starting to wrap around the sweet pea, which is starting to produce its little pods. But I think that's okay. I wish I would have caught that sooner. I would have redirected it this way. This trellis is not going to hold those morning glories very well, but that's what I have this year. Again, I need to get more sturdy trellising for in my raised beds. And taller, like this. Ideal. 8 feet tall, that's what it should be, but I did not do that this year. Again, you can tell there's a little bit of fighting for nutrition down here because it's getting a little pale, so I probably should fertilize that area. But I've got all my beautiful zinnias coming up. This is the peppermint stick. I'm wondering if because it's just the first bloom on the very top and that's why it's so tiny, but I expected them to be bigger. So I'm just gonna hope that because this is the first one on top, that for some reason it'll be smaller but gradually get bigger as the plant matures. I had broccoli down here, if you recall, and they started to flower. So I cut them, we ate some of them with a little bit of flour on there, but that's okay. They were all right. I noticed that there were some little side shoots happening, so I kept this one and I kept this one. This one is just a young guy still, so I'm gonna Hope that one makes it, gets a little bit bigger, and we'll have a nice full head of broccoli. If not, I'll just cut it back. Your Snapdragon is kind of shading out what else is going on down here, but this is one of the Bizarre Mix again. It's just so pretty. I just cannot tell you how surprised I am at how well these reseed. Oh, I should pull this one too. See, this is what I'm talking about. Look how much has been eaten back. That's just unbelievable. These are fine. I just harvested for our dinner to go with our salad, but yeah, I'm gonna pull this one because that makes me sad. But it's time. It's lived a life. Okay. Beans. I've got some beans in here. I could start harvesting. I've got yellow beans here, and I've got the green Triumph beans. Yeah, Triumph beans. The Triumph beans typically get like a purple stripes in there, which I have not discovered that on any of these yet. But I would like a few more so I can get a nice handful. But there's quite a few in here. In the next day or two, I'll come out and harvest because I don't want them to get too mature. This one's probably past. That's okay. We'll cook it down. We'll eat it. Carrots are getting massive. I remember how much space was in here. Do you remember how much space was in here? It's just wide rows, and now it's just all packed, jam-packed. Look at these beautiful zinnias, or that's not zinnia, Snapdragon, more Snapdragon. Finally, I say the wrong name a lot and don't even realize it. So hopefully you've recognized that and know that I am mistaken, because I don't ever realize it in the moment until I edit videos. But these carrots look great. Look how huge this one's getting. I don't know if there's anything to discover. Nope, not yet. Okay, these peas I have staked. I have attached them to that stake. I am at the point where I'm not picking anymore. You can see I left a lot behind because they got ahead of me. And the ones I'm leaving behind, I will save. I let them die back. The plant will die back pretty well, and then I will let the peas dry out, and then I'll pick them and they will go and be safe for next year or following years, or a seed swap. I thought about doing a seed swap, so that's my plan with those. And then I will plant again. Gotta see when I plant it again. I do 2 plantings of those. So continuing on this journey, probably about halfway there, we come over to this pot, the hanging pot, which has the Sparky mix. And then I had to fill in a spot where one was dug up and put in a yellow, pretty yellow. And then this is the other variety of nasturtium seeds that I bought this year. So I will share right now what that variety is. We come over here and the side of the garage. Coral Bell, more plumes, looks great. This is the oldest one, and it's already starting. It looks like a fall plant to me. It's just so pretty. I am confused about my pansies because I've gotten 3 different colors out of the same seed packet, and I'll pop that on the screen here. But this is called Lake of Fun, and these, I don't know if maybe it's a soil thing that causes them to be different colors, but this one is more of a light, maybe a dark lavender I would describe it as, but in tiny little flowers. And then you have this one, which is the color I expected. Look how pretty and dark that is. It's just so gorgeous. But then you have the light ones. I'll show you the other ones that are even a different color. Some more calendula. They don't like the heat. Gotta deadhead that one. But so pretty. Just so tall. Look what came back. My sweet peas. So I will have to fertilize those now that they are established. Now look, more damage down here at the bottom. Earwigs. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Gotta take care of that. This is starting to come back. I had to cut back all the buds after its first blooming. It's feels like it's been a while, but here it is, starting to open back up. It's gonna be loaded soon. All of these are buds, and then I had to cut back the snapdragon and all of these buds. So this is, if it's all open by the time I share this video, I will insert a picture of its current state right next to it. Then we come over here, and this is my alyssum. Look how big they're getting. This is the perfect spot for them. I love how they're trailing down. Those are just amazing. And then the begonia back here kind of getting covered up. But that is a pretty pot if you look at it from above. I love that dark red against the dark burgundy. I kind of wish I would have put these in the front of the house because that matches the theme of the front. And the side here is more of the pinks and the whites, which is the other part of that 6 cells that I bought from another nursery to replace the ones I put in here that were dying. The other ones were pink that are now in front of the house and don't match the theme in the front of the house. But oh well, I think this pot just looks gorgeous, and that's okay. These, I think, need another Impatient and Creeping Jenny, I think, need a little fertilizing. The leaves have been looking yellowed as of late in the last day or two, so, but still, just pretty. Eventually, when we get to mid to late July, this is just going to be a big old mound of impatiens. I love how impatiens grow, and and then you'll just see little hints of the Creeping Jenny trail out. So I can't wait how that continues to progress. Over here, got some pretty exciting things. Everything's exciting. This is where I put some of those begonias. I got new ones with impatiens. I don't know how well you can see in there. This one's pretty high up. It's a nice little spider. You see him just floating there in the middle of the picture. It's right at the tip of the house. Yeah, you see that? Above the window. That guy's been living there. Eat bugs. That's fine. And then the Creeping Jenny. So this will be really pretty. It's already just beautiful. I love it where it is. This one, again, this would have been a different choice had I known how tall the calendula. Maybe I just didn't think it was going to, even though I'm sure that's what the seed packet said. But that's at least, it's going to be 2 feet if it isn't already. But love how dark it looks at first, and then when they open up, it's going to be a nice pretty orange. Dusty Miller. This Snapdragon, I cut back a while ago, but there's not a single bud on there. Not a single one. That's really strange. Maybe I need to fertilize this one. And then the viola is getting a little scraggly too. But violas really don't like heat, so that could be part of the problem. But Dusty Miller and the calendula look great. I imagine this one's going to die back pretty early in this season, and I'll probably put a mum or something fall-ish in there. That would be pretty. Future plans. These pansies, again, look great. It likes cooler weather, but look how pretty those colors together. Oh, Nancy earwig popped out of there. Gross. I don't like you. Get out of my garden. Yuck. Okay. See? They're everywhere, hiding. So yeah, look how pretty those two colors are. Love it. So that one's still happy. This one is starting to brown a little bit. I'll try and fertilize this one more time, but it might be done. I anticipated another spider making its home. Look at you. Can't focus on you, but that's him. Another little spider. They're everywhere this year. This planter, I'm thrilled with how it looks right now. So we have these amazing, this is just the most pretty display of nasturtium I have ever seen or done myself. So these were 2 nasturtium and they just bushed out the way I wanted it to. The amount of flowers just astounds me. It makes me so happy. And then here are, and I don't have any blooms that are open. They hide at nighttime. But these are the poppies, the California poppies. And it's doing great for being as hot as it is. This calendula keeps tipping. It has so many buds on there. I'm curious how long calendula will last, if it just keeps pushing up buds or not. I don't know. That's a new one to me, but I don't think I'd put calendula in a pot again. I like how tall they are behind the nasturtium, but they just aren't a pot container plant for me. This, I believe, is definitely turning into a snapdragon, which is not what I thought it was going to be, but it's definitely a tall one. It must have gotten in with the viola tray and germinated. Unbeknownst to me, here we are. No violas, but definitely a snapdragon. That's okay. In this beautiful, this was my mother's bird bath, and I had shown that Bill put some holes in there so that it would drain better. But I've been doing this theme the last few years. Creeping Jenny in the center with all of these impatiens on the outside, and this will be the convolvulus. I cannot wait to show you how pretty those flowers are going to be when they open up. But there's 4 in there. I cannot wait. They're just gorgeous. Over here, this is on the other side of the garage, and this basket is turning out just great. I am loving this nasturtium variety. It's just doing all the right things. There is another color, which unfortunately it's not open. If it's open, or if I have a picture of another one that's open, but it has yellow and red, and it's the same nasturtium plant, just different colors in there. I'll share a picture of it being open right here, and then mixed with the yellow marigolds. Oh, so pretty. Okay, we come here and we have this beautiful creeping Jenny. Lobelia, I believe. Geraniums, just pop of the coral in there. And then I had forgotten that I put an impatient in here just to find a spot. Oh, hey, a tree. Bye. But I put the impatient in there, and look, it's just trying to push its way out. But it's so funny. But isn't that so pretty? I love this coral against this deep purple blue color. It's just, that's kind of a new favorite combination of colors with this limey bright green. That is pretty. I bought a few things at the market today. Some herbs, some cilantro, chocolate mint, and peppermint. I'm kind of glad she threw 2 in there. She threw me a deal today and added an extra plant. This definitely needs some time and attention. She probably did that intentionally. Snapdragon volunteer, pretty, super pretty pink. I didn't realize they'd be so small as volunteers. Here we have Alyssum lantana. I've done one cutting back, and they just, like this one, would just burst. Here's a convolvulus I just kind of snuck in here as an extra. But that's another favorite display I have. Man, the Alyssum, it's just beautiful. And then down here, look at this. Oh no, morning glory. Not doing you here this year, so pop you out of the ground. I'm gonna be getting all these little morning glories and other things coming up. Because there's a chipmunk that likes to plant seeds. Yeah, he steals them from the bird feeder and buries them, thinking that he'll go back and eat them later. Well, they sprout every time. All right, this thing. Look, finally, it's taken off a little bit. I'm pretty positive this one is an impatient, but the snapdragons are finally, finally coming, opening up. So that's exciting. The calendula. I don't even know what to say. It kills me that some things are choosing to thrive in here and others are like, nope, I'm not gonna do anything for you in here. I've had enough. So whatever. This is a pot that just whatever happens. It's not really in any special spot. It's just living on the side of my house. The snapdragons will be pretty. Okay, I need to Google this one. I can't think of the name, so I'll have to pop that name up here. And then we have more Dusty Miller, Gomphrena. I'm just impressed how long the this is the first flower, and it doesn't seem to me that I need to cut it back at all. And then we have, and it's just creeping out of the front. It's like I may be in the back, but I'm still going to stand out, and I love that. More viola. And ooh, that is fun. This one is starting to go to seed, I think. Hey, yep. Okay, I'm gonna save that, and that's okay. I don't really have a good one that's open, but look so pretty. So they've all been a little bit different. This one is a lemony yellow. I've got more snapdragon, bizarre mix. This is my pansy, and then remember there's a white. Remember that was the first one that opened. Don't know why there are different colors in that seed packet, but that's okay. So this is the side of the house. We will transition to the front to finish this off. Our limelight hydrangea, which is not budding out yet, but it's gonna be huge this year. We didn't even fertilize it, I don't think. Just amazing. And then this pot, which, okay, that first dahlia that opened was gorgeous, and now look at the sad. This one barely even opened before it lost its petals. I don't know how to take care of dahlias. I've fertilized this. Maybe I'll fertilize it again, but the petunias, marigold, that one should be deadheaded. And then the creeping Jenny, those all look fine, but I think it's too crowded. That could be part of the problem. Dahlias maybe should not be planted in with something so close. Who knows? But the petunias are pretty. This hosta is bigger than I would like. See? Now, I put a begonia in between each of the hostas. One down there. I added a few extras to this spot, but this is one of the old ones. Look, it's coming back really nicely. Same thing here. Coming back really nicely, and I added a couple. That one's not as great, but it'll come. And then over here, this is coming. I should fertilize again. More fertilizing. Coneflower. The ones up here are doing great because that is Shasta Daisy that I put up here in one of my coneflowers, and they look great. And another begonia. Up here, I made a little change. The nasturtium is starting to finally open up and show. Snapdragons in the back. I will post the name here but it is a mix of a petunia and something else, I believe. So it's not just a petunia. It's mixed with something else. But the campfire flame, it died. It got crispy and dry. It's just, I don't know what was wrong with the spot. I fertilized it and it just kept getting worse before I could see any signs of it getting better. So I dug it out and I got, this is a pretty close color, and I think I can handle taking care of this a lot better because I know petunias better on how to trim them back, fertilize, all that stuff. So I'm gonna hope that this one survives a little bit better, a little bit longer, and then fills in this gap. But this should be nice. It's come a long way. And then lastly, last to show, can't remember the name, I'll post here, and Creeping Jenny with Snapdragon hen in there, great moth eating leaves. But this one is going to be should be an orange. Ooh, I am stepping on my begonia, sorry. Yeah, this one should be a yellow orange nasturtium. So the opposite, because I had two main nasturtiums that I put in all the containers, and this would be the opposite of those red ones. So that I have yellows, I guess yellows and oranges in here versus reds and oranges over there. And then I don't know what these Snapdragons are, just random. I needed somewhere to put them, and I thought it'd just be a different pop of color when they eventually bloom. But I'll tell you, these, if you ever get them, smell amazing. Kind of wish these would have gone by my kitchen window. I thought it was the alyssum that smelled so fragrant when they were all together. I just couldn't pinpoint which one smelled the best, but I knew one of them did, and it was that yellow one. So if I find those again next year, I am definitely putting them by my kitchen window because they smell just as sweet as honey, just so good. So that's definitely another one to buy. So I definitely have to remember what the name is. So when I share that, then I'll have my way to remember. But thank you for joining me on this long tour, but I just had to make sure you saw everything in June. I didn't want to get to July and say, oh, I didn't do my final garden tour of June. And tomorrow's gonna be 90. Monday I have errands to run before I go into work, and then I work until 8:30, and then it wouldn't be till Tuesday, and I believe Tuesday is July 1st. So nope, had to be today. So thank you for watching. I hope you got some ideas, some things that you can share with me, your ideas on the black walnut tree and how it can help my tomatoes, or if I really need to just bite the bullet and do the 5-gallon pails. And I will let you know what's going on in July. I've got some ideas, and see you next month. Bye-bye.